I throw myself into like YouTube, like sleeping escapes me. You know what I mean? It's hard to fall asleep, like right, like because just in
Yeah.
constant thought and wake up in the middle of the night. So I've been watching a lot of Dan Lebitard. Shout out to Metal Art Media. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get in on trying to get in on that
Oh,
at
that
some point,
DraftKings
bro. Like
money.
I'm yeah, that DraftKings money. Shout out to Pat McAfee getting 30 mil.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, he got 30 mil. I think from I might be wrong. You might want to Google that with your incredibly fast internet. But either from FanDuel or DraftKings, they got
Uh-huh.
30 mil a year. Just came out today. The announcement. So shout out to them, man.
Nice.
Like it's exciting. Not that like
Yeah,
we'll get there,
FanDuel.
right? Like hopefully we do, right? There's that hope that like one day we pop off. But the fact that like there's so much new ways to make money, like new media and new avenues that weren't there before. You know what I mean? Like I think
Yep.
Ariel Hawani is with like Substack. You know what I mean? Making money. Dan Betard makes his money now with They started their own company. I think they
Yeah, their
sold a
own media
bunch of
company.
ideas to like Apple. Yeah, like Apple TV. You know what I mean? So like they're doing their thing. So like they have this I think it's called like Metal Larkers, right? Like they have a bunch of different podcasts on the network,
Yep.
and they had a conversation about NS NS Cancer
Freedom.
slash NS Freedom now, right? Like I guess
Yep.
this is his name now. They had a really interesting conversation, and I don't. You could approach it any way you want. Like I thought it was interesting when it's like three insiders, right? When they talk about it, like I just like he goes at LeBron. Like this isn't a LeBron defense, but like how he's wearing like these free China, you know what I mean, and all this stuff, but he's doing it with Air Jordans, like with no sense of irony. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just it's wild, man. What do you think about that whole like? I'm sure you listened to the pod, right? Like the conversation because I sent it to you, or as much as you could because it was like 55 minutes.
No, I think when you
I
sent
thought
it to me, I was already listening to it, and then this morning
okay,
they posted the video because I actually, since I work from home, I prefer to watch it.
yes,
And so I switched over halfway once I saw the video posted. I just picked up the rest of the episode and watched it, and it was dude, I can't even remember Tom Haberstroh and
Howard Bryant
Howard
and
Bryant
Amin and Hassan.
and Amin Al
Yeah,
Hassan,
Howard
and
Bryant and Amin and
Amin,
Hassan. Yep,
yeah, and Amin says something that um he was cutting straight to the chase. Like Tom was like, "Well, is he
yep,
maybe just not not I don't want to say not intelligent enough, but Amin Al Hassan was like, no, he's just doing it because he heard the bell ring, right? He did this,
yes,
he got
yes.
the attention. He's only
Hmm.
29, but he's a third string center in Boston. He said this, got the attention, his face, his name, everything's in the limelight. Everything going viral now. You don't need 15 minutes, it's 15 seconds of fame.
No,
And so he's got his 15
yeah,
seconds now, and he's gonna keep doing it. Does he actually believe in these causes? I'm sure that he does. Obviously, he came from Turkey. Under that, like his father faced 15 years in prison because I believe he
yep,
participated in a coup to take over the government. You can't. He's coming from a place where it's the opposite of the U.S. and unfortunately, that's what happens with people that come from those places. People that come from Venezuela, which is where I
hmm,
came from Venezuela before it turned into what it is now. Same thing that happens to
yep.
Cuban people that come from these places, these regimes, where you're not allowed to say anything. You can't criticize the
Anything, yep.
president,
Hmm.
any part of government. Like you can't criticize some city official or city council because you're locked up, thrown in some cave in some cell, and never seen or heard from again, right?
Yep,
And so
yep,
Enes Cantor Freedom is doing the same thing.
yep.
He goes on Fox, he's dancing, he says something about he says the equivalent of shut up and dribble,
Shut up and
right?
drill.
He's like, hey,
100%.
you should appreciate your freedom. No one has it like this. Like you should see how people have it in Turkey or in fucking Mogadishu or whatever he wants to say. And
Yep.
and so what dude, why can't I remember his name? I haven't had that
I
much
mean,
bourbon yet. What Amin said, and it's true, and some people, a lot of people fail to realize is that they want to compare the US to these other countries. And no, that
yes,
you compare the US to the US.
to the U.S.
Like
Yep,
like he said, you could be living in the projects and have a 55-inch screen TV. That doesn't mean you have it good.
yep,
Like you might have it better than what you have it somewhere in I don't know, in somewhere in Africa, in Nigeria, where people are living in shanties with no water, no electricity,
Brazil,
right? And in
yeah,
Brazil.
yeah.
So that you don't compare it to those places, you compare it to the US,
Yep.
and specifically, obviously, you compare yourself to other citizens in the US. And so it's just funny that he's taking that stance, Cantor Freedom, because 80% of the league that he plays in is black. Um,
Well,
and
that's I think that's the thing, right? Like, like we have a very like it's funny to people on a macro scale, right? But to us, growing up where we grew up, it makes perfect sense, right? Like we saw a bunch of Ennis freedoms growing
mhm,
up. Like
yep,
you know what I mean? Like the Cuban culture and the Venezuela. That's
yep.
the we talked about it before Ennis freedom. We talked about it when we
I
talked
have
about our
family coming
colorism
over
stuff,
now
or
that they're like, well, this is so
exactly.
good. What do you complain about? Capitalism, baby.
Exactly,
Okay.
bro. Like it's this thing where like yeah, it's we're not comparing. I'm not comparing us to Panama. I'm not comparing
Yeah.
the U.S. to Venezuela. Like you compare, like it's like sometimes like I think things right, and we talk about things, but like when somebody else says it, like I've never thought about that simplistic way of looking at it. Like no, you just compare the U.S. to the U.S. Like you if we're this anomaly right of a situation, the why would you compare it to anything else? Like we have to one compare one citizen to the other. Like if
Right.
you're saying we all have equal rights, then let's compare. You know what I mean? Let's look at the resume. Let's look at
Exactly.
like what you can say and what I can say. Right? Like he's being used as a prop and as a grift. Right? Like and we talked about it as like it's when you're a carnival barker, right? Like as I mean call
As I
them,
mean, call them. Yep.
it's yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the grift, right? Because he likes the attention. He's a, you know what I mean? Like because like it is incredibly shocking, right? Like when you come from a country that's literally trying to kill you, right? And you can like openly criticize the government of this country, right? Well, like in other countries, you'll get murdered in the street or get put in prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Of course that's shocking,
Look,
but that's
that
not the
logic
comparison.
just makes no sense to me, man. He's saying, "Love your freedom. Look how free we are in this country," while turning around and saying, "Just shut up and stop talking about how bad you
Yeah,
have it here." Well, no, like
exactly.
that's the point of freedom,
That's
right?
the freedom.
To
That's the point
to
of freedom.
point
Yeah.
out the inequalities, how one set of
Yes.
citizens doesn't have the same standards as another set of citizens. That's the whole point. That's why you left Turkey. It
Yeah.
wasn't because capitalism, was because you literally couldn't say that the government was doing this, that they weren't standing up for your rights. And
Yep.
you're saying, I love this freedom, but stop criticizing the government. I don't get that logic. You just escaped that. And now you're coming here saying,
Yeah.
having a US flag, I love this. I'm changing my last
Yeah.
name
We're
to
in a U.S.
Freedom,
citizen
while telling
T-shirt.
people to
Yeah.
shut up and stop
Yeah.
criticizing the government. That just, I don't know if he doesn't understand that irony, if he just enjoys the attention he's getting, or
No.
like Amin and a couple and Howard Bryant pointed out, maybe he's just angling for an after basketball career. He knows that his
Yeah.
career might be coming to an end as a third stringer. He's getting paid like two to 3 million.
Two.
You know,
Yep. two point
but
seven. Yep.
yeah, 2.7. Boston might
Mm-hmm.
cut ties and decide, hey, this is costing us money because now we're not getting our we're not getting televised over in China, and they want some of that China money. And
Yep. That
you know,
Boston crowd loves him.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he might be the next what is it? I was about to say the wrong name. Candace Owens. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
he'll
I
he'll
mean,
he'll
a
he'll
prop
play
prop
his part.
grifters. Listen, man, grifter's gonna grift, right? Like it's a very look. It's very and this could roll in. We could just roll these two in together. These Enes freedom and critical thinking stuff, right? It's
Yeah,
very funny when like the people are like, "Oh, don't criticize this country," while their entire network is criticizing the current government, right? Because it's
right.
not the party they align with, right? Like it's like, "Oh, don't just shut up. Don't say anything negative about this country." The channel you're currently on, brother, that bow tie guy is openly criticizing the policies and bills that are being put forth by a party he doesn't agree with. That's criticizing the
Exactly.
government. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, like I'm not even like you could be on the left if it was the left side of it. You were like, oh, don't criticize this country, but then you're gonna criticize because is DT in office. You know what I mean? Like it's the same
Right.
hypocrisy and irony. You know what I'm saying? Like it's this thing where like, oh, don't criticize this
And to be
hierarchy
yeah,
that benefits us.
And to be
Yeah.
clear,
Go
both
ahead.
either side, whether it's Fox or whether it's CNN, left, right, like they do the same thing. I don't know when they
Yeah.
stopped reporting the news. It's been a long time. I don't go to them for the
100%.
news, right? It's their
Me either.
entertainment. and
I go to Mike Ryan.
they're opinion based. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Go to
yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Ryan if you're a delusional
yeah, that's it.
UM fan, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it's entertainment. It's opinion based. It's very editorialized, and it
Mhm.
can't be news if someone is giving you one
Their
side of
opinion.
their story, of the same story, and
Yep.
then you switch to another channel and they're talking about the same story in a completely different manner, right? So
Yep.
where is the truth? Because